57 vehicles, you are giving it to parliamentarians. Where is the source? The parliamentarians themselves should challenge that.
Yes, TRRC and GBC no opposition. All other parties that does not concern you, either UDP or NRP or PDP, they are all in the government. Man, dama against edikani mu nek $450. Man musuma se anata du musuma sa anda.
Yow xaliss bobu num fa ñëwé lolu nga wara ñi kalakté because social security institution do xam lé social security waru fa ñaka xaliss yefi profit social security lolu wahi waxtani bandala lolu dafa wara automatique
baro lu mako ñaan moy na wacca 3 years am su démé 5 years dafa am problème leadership bu fi bay dafa bon right now amu direction bu correct réew mi ñepp sen disap amna disappointment ci nguri barom
benn nit munta jagal réew da nga def li nga wara def bayyi keneen ñu continuer
Our sincere apologies for a very, very late start of our proceedings due to technical difficulties. I hope we have solved those difficulties and we can proceed with our public hearing for this Monday morning. Council, can you confirm that indeed the technical problem has been resolved?
Mr. Chairman, I wish I could say yes, but unfortunately it seems that between the time we thought everything was set and the time you or someone to come into the room, the echo has re-emerged. I can hear myself, but I mean, we would wish to just, in view of the lateness of the time, we try and see how far we could go and hope that they would be able to solve this echo problem. You can't even hear me. I am sorry. Let's try and wear the headsets and see whether it would work. Hello? Maybe this is better. Is it okay with you, Mr. Chair? Okay. So we proceed accordingly. We wear the headsets and see whether it would work. Okay. Ovivan, can you show us the witness, please? The witness is on the screen, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Before we get to the witness, shall we start our proceedings with the usual offer of prayers from our religious leaders. Imam Jallo, you have the floor and welcome back. Glad to see you. I hope all went well at the hospital. You're okay now?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين إهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين الحمد لله هدينا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدينا الله الأول والآخر والآخر والباطن يا ربنا لك الحمد كما ينبغي وجلال وجهك وعظيم سلطانك وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد خاتم النبيين وإمام المرسلين سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Thank you very much, Imam Jallo, for that. Bishop, you have the floor, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Let us pray. Gracious and eternal Father, we continue to thank you for your goodness, your mercy, your compassion, and your love towards every human being throughout the whole face of the world. We thank you for the people of this nation, the Gambia. and we continue to commit the sittings of the TRRC as we seek to bring out the truth and also to bring about reconciliation, and also to pray that by your healing power, all those who have been hurt will be healed, and each and every one will have the spirit of forgiveness. And Lord, that you will make the necessary reparation provided so that all who needed to have these assistance given, it will be done. This we ask through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Bishop. Council, can we continue with our proceedings? Is the witness ready?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the witness is ready. And perhaps before we start with the witness, may I ask for directions here, Mr. Chairman? Normally, at this time, we would have taken our first 30 minutes break. But obviously, we have had enough break. We haven't done anything yet this morning. So perhaps, may I suggest that we go on until 1 o'clock with this witness, then we take our break up to 2:15, and then we resume 2:15 to finish with the witness. If that is agreeable, we proceed accordingly. But otherwise, I stand guided by you, Mr. Chairman.
Agreed, Council. We will proceed accordingly. And witness, we are terribly sorry. I understand you had worked at night and had to get up very early in the morning to be part of these proceedings. But let's proceed accordingly, as suggested by you, Council.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Ba, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Once again, we apologize for keeping you up to this hour.
No worries, man.
I know you have waited for a long time for this. So today is your opportunity to testify before the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission. Let's start with the formalities. Can you repeat after me, please?
Sure.
Say, I, Abdul Ba.
I, Abdul Karim Ba.
Hereby affirm that I will speak the truth.
Hereby affirm I will speak the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole truth.
And nothing but the truth.
Nothing but the truth.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ba. What are your full names?
My name is Abdul. My middle name is Karim. My last name is Ba. Or you call it surname in the Gambia, Ba.
What is your date of birth?
I was born March 25th, 1971.
Where were you born?
I was born in Medina, Sotokoy, Combo East District, Western Division, now called the West Coast Region.
Where did you go to school? Primary school?
I started up in Sotokoy, and it was a father school then. Small, then I went to Parababanta Primary School. I started at primary, kindergarten or whatever up in Sotokoy. And I started my common entrance examination 1984-85 academic year. I proceeded to Gunjur Secondary Technical School, where I graduated in 1989.
Did you do any further education?
Yes, in 1990, I enrolled in the Gambia Technical Training Institute called the GTTI, but I didn't proceed long with that career, and I happened to join the Gambia National Gendarmerie in 1991.
Can you tell us the duration of your training at the Gambia Gendarmerie?
I believe it was 18 months.
When did you complete your training?
We completed early part of 1992. I believe our enlistment date was June 1st, 1991. Then we completed 18 months later into 1992.
Mr. Ba, we would wish to see your face, so could you kindly position yourself? We can see your face. If it becomes uncomfortable, please do let us know, and then you can adjust your sitting position. Okay?
It's okay. We're fine. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Good. So you finished your training with the Gendarmerie in 1992. Did any significant event happen during the period of your training with the Gendarmerie in 1992?
Yes. Before we passed out, which is the end of the training, I believe it was just before the 1992 independence celebration. While we were at the training school, we were the ones that were supposed to do the march past at the Independence Stadium. And we were having a rehearsal, about the march past in the field. This particular day, I remember them sounding the alarm, which is like an emergency alarm, a siren in the barracks. And whenever that gets activated, we all head to the headquarters, where that's where the armory is, and then we will brief according to what the mission is. This particular day, when that happened, we left the parade ground where we were having the training, and we all went and assembled at the armory. And we were issued ammunitions. We had our arms, which is the AK-47. But since we were on just doing a rehearsal, we didn't have ammunition. So we got issued with ammunition, and we were taken down to the Denton Bridge this particular day. Because there was a mutiny that happened from the National Army. And I believe, if I remember right, that would have been the second time it happened. So we were sent to the bridge. We went over there and tried to secure the bridge. I remember when I was at the training school, under the advice of the Turkish, we were taken down to the bridge to fill up some barrels with sand, just in case there is a situation to use that to block the bridge. This particular day when we got there, we used those barrels and blocked the bridge to prevent any further vehicle traffic. And there was a chain with a padlock. They locked the bridge. When these soldiers that were on mutiny arrived, there was like discussions. Either should they, be let pass to go towards Banjul, or should we be able to contain them and stop them right there? Our officers had the negotiation. We were under the command of Captain Hussein Nyang, with a twice of Lieutenant Keba Diba. We call him Manpower. During the negotiation at the bridge, we split. We had few people stay behind, and the rest of us under the command of Lieutenant Kebadiba had to pull forward. I believe, if I remember right, it's called Wadna Beach. That's a hotel right before Mile 2 Central Prison. And we had to go over there and lay an ambush, just in case they want to force their way through. But thank God, for some reason, whoever was doing the negotiation, which I believe probably Captain Yang was over there and some other officers, had it contained. So they never proceeded to get into our ambush.
Thank you very much for that information. Do you recall the exact date this event took place?
No, I don't remember the exact date, but I know it was before the independence celebration, right before the 18th of February.
Of which year?
Of 1992.
Prior to your deployment to the bridge, were you given any briefing at the Fajara barracks?
Yes. The briefing we were given is that we have a mission to go accomplish and we have to, hold on to the bridge. And with that, we had Captain Usainu Nyang, our commander, and Lieutenant Kebarin Diba as, TRRC.
Apart from your AK-47 rifles, did you carry any other types of weapons?
That particular day, no. We only had AK-47.
Could you recall the size of your deployment?
It was the platoon that was in the field. So I believe it's around 33 people plus the officers and the NCOs that went with us. So approximately about, I would say probably 40 or less personnel.
And that would be a company, wouldn't it?
Yes, yes.
Could you tell us what time of the day you arrived at the bridge?
This was sometime a little bit in the afternoon because we were over at the training ground. I believe it was probably around 10, 11 when we got deployed down to the armory, when we went to the armory to get our arms. So a little bit around maybe noon or a little bit after noon. I can't remember the exact timing on it and the date.
So when you arrived at the bridge, were you amongst the troops who remained at the bridge, or you also deployed to Wadna Beach?
I deployed to Wadna Beach.
Before you deployed to Wadna Beach, did you see any military officers at the bridge?
Yes.
Do you recall who you saw?
No.
So how did that event unfold? Did the mutiny continue or it stopped?
It did stop.
And your belief is that it stopped because of the demonstration that occurred there? It stopped because of the presence of the gendarmerie and the negotiations that occurred at the bridge?
Yes.
When you completed your training, where were you deployed?
After my training, after we passed out from the training school, I was first posted with the mobile unit. The mobile unit is this unit that will go around and guard all the strategic areas, positions of the, within the country, the combustion, area. And these, these are like the Radio Gambia, the Kotu Power Station, the Vice President's residence in Fajara, the Gamtel Art Station up in Abuko, and I think it's called the Guest House or something up in Cape Point. These are the areas that we will be deployed. We spend a couple of days, maybe a week or so, and then we rotate.
Who were your seniors in the mobile unit? Do you recall?
Sergeant Major Balde, WO2 Balde. I can remember his I cannot remember his first name, but Balde was the one in charge of the mobile unit by then. Assisted by, I guess, his Senanjai, who was a staff sergeant or a WO2. I cannot exactly remember their ranks at this moment. It's been too long. But
what was your rank at this stage when you worked with the mobile team, the mobile unit?
I was a private.
Did you continue with the mobile unit for much longer?
Couple of months later, I'll say about 3 months later, around there, and then I was moved from the mobile unit to the armory itself. I was posted at the armory to be the armory clerk under Sergeant Major WO2 Jamme and Staff Sergeant, I believe his name was Sirif Sanyang.
And thereafter, what happened to your career?
When I was at the armory as the armory clerk, there I got my first promotion to a lance corporal. And after my promotion as a lance corporal, I'll say about later on in that year, I was sent down to work with the ex-vice president, Alhaji Sehu Sabali, as his orderly.
Were you alone in that assignment?
No, we had a sergeant whose name is Sergeant Abakoli, and I had a corporal, Ansumana Mane, and I was the lance corporal. It was 3 of us applied to the vice president.
What were your responsibilities during this period?
Our responsibility, I will say our, because it was 3 of us. So we basically alternate. Me and Kopul Mane will alternate. We'll have 2 days on and 2 days off, which is on Monday and Tuesday, if Mane goes to the vice president's residence, he travels with him to the state house for 2 days. After he's done with his shift, I'll take over, I'll do my 2 days. So basically, we get up in the morning at Fajara Barracks, we travel down to the vice president's residence in Fajara, wait for him to get ready, and escort him down to the state house, which, that's where his office was, and stay with him during his official hours. When he's done with his work, we get off, then we head back to his residence. Once we get to the residence, we go to leave because the sergeant, who is Abakoli, stays over at the residence with him until when it's bedtime. Then he gets off and then he goes back, to his residence in Fajara Barracks. But then we have a unit that was stationed inside the residence itself, which is under the mobile unit. If you remember, I explained when I talked to you about the mobile deployment. That was one of the places that we guarded 24/7.
Do you recall whether you worked for the vice president up to July 1994?
Yes, sir. I did.
Can you recall July 21st, 1994?
Yes, I do remember July 21st, 1994. That was the day that I was supposed to work. But for some reason, I got sick. I think I had either malaria or something. So I communicated that to my sergeant and my corporal. Corporal Mane took over that day, the 21st. He went, to perform duties with the vice president. And then the next morning,
yes, go ahead, please.
okay, then the next morning, which is the 22nd of July, I went to duty. I went to the vice president's residence and did our
What
normal
time
routine,
did you
which is
get to the vice
escorting.
president's residence?
I normally get there a little early because somebody he won't wait. You have to be there on time. I believe I got there, it was around maybe 7 a.m. to wait for him because we normally leave the house about 7:30. By 8 o'clock, 8:30, we are at the office, somewhere around there.
So on this particular occasion, what time did you arrive at State House?
I'll say about 8 o'clock, maybe 8:15, 8:20, around there.
Can you tell us what happened when you arrived there?
Yes. Normally, when we get to the State House, we get to his office. He goes into his office, and I'll come and talk to the secretary. And the secretary, normally they have a list of his daily schedule. So I'll have a copy of it. That way I can tell who is coming at what time to go, to see the vice president. So that morning I went in, did my normal routine, talked to the secretary, got my list. I knew who were coming in. The first appointment was the Americans were in the country. The United States Coast Guards were in the country by then. And they were the first people. They were supposed to have a meeting with the vice president and the minister of defense that morning. That was his first appointment. But then, while we were waiting for that appointment, I had a handheld radio. And my handheld radio, I can hear communications coming through the radio that there is a movement of soldiers, coming out of Yundum barracks. So I left my chair, I sit by the door, opened the door, went inside, and informed, the vice president of what I heard on my radio. And he acknowledged that he already knew about it. So I said, okay, now how he knew about it, I'm not sure. Maybe somebody called him because he had a landline, or maybe they had a device, a panic button or something. I'm not sure. But he acknowledged to me that he knew about, what was going on. And he told me to bring in his appointment, which is, the Americans, as soon as they get there.
At this stage,
said, okay.
Did you see any other Gambian official at the State House?
Not at that stage. I didn't see anybody at that stage. The person I saw after on was the ADC of Sadauda, Kasama. Captain Kasama did come in to the office, but that was when the Americans were already there.
So can you give us a good chronology? After you informed him of what you heard on the handheld radio, he told you that he was already aware of it. What happened next?
Then when the Americans came in, I let them in. They went to the office, and then Kasama came in after the Americans arrived.
Do you know who these Americans? Excuse me, I'm sorry for speaking while you were also speaking. Do you know who these Americans were?
I did not know their names, but I understand they are from the U.S. Coast Guards. And the one person that I knew and I recognize and I have seen before and I know who it is the then American ambassador, Mr. Andrew Winter.
How many of them came, if you can recall that?
I might be wrong here. I don't remember the head count, but I believe it's less than probably 10 people. It's less than 10 people.
Do you recall what time they arrived?
I'll say about 9-ish, 9-ish, 9:15, 9:20, around there.
While the Americans were there, did you see any other Gambian officials? I know you did indicate that Captain Gassama did come into the office while the Americans were there. Can you pick up your story from there?
Yes. So when Captain Kasama came in, he went inside a little while, then he came back out. And normally there's a back way getting into the offices, which is like a little hallway. You know, you go through the stairs to go to the first level, second level, that's where the vice president's office is. Then you have Hadauda's office above us. So when that happens, normally that's the way we go when we are going inside Sehus office or coming down. But then this particular time, when the Americans were already there and Captain Kasama came in and left, the vice president, and the Americans that came in, they came through the front door, which is where I sit next to the secretary. So we had to walk, towards the elevator. I guess not the elevator. A front step, steps, it's on the other side, different from the steps in the back that we usually use to go down. So we went down. We went to the residence of Sadauda because he was not in office yet.
Before this event happened, did you meet any other Gambian official apart from Gassama and Samali?
I can't remember.
Okay, can you?
The other officer, 1 second. Yeah, the other officer that was there was Kapul Ndao. Ofsewu had a police officer attached to him too, Ansman Ndao. He was also an officer, with us.
Okay. All right. So, with the Americans there, you left Sehu's office and you proceeded to Sadauda's residence, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can you continue with your story?
Yeah, when we got to Sadauda's residence, we met the then RSS boss with Sadauda, whose name was Keba Sise. I believe he's late now, but he was dead Sadauda. And at that point, they convinced Sadauda to leave, for us to leave, to go to the ship at port until they can figure out, what it is all about.
Did
but
they
at that
tell?
point, all we know.
Did this conversation happen in your presence?
No. What happened in my presence? I was standing at the door. Shehu, Sadauda, were inside, his room. Captain Kasama was there at this point. So when the conversation happened to pursue Sadauda to the ship, I didn't know who he was talking to, or who talked to him about moving. Is it Sabali? Is it Kasama? Or is it Keba Sise? I'm not exactly sure who told him, to move down to the ship. But after they got done with their conversation with Sadauda, I was the one that was tasked to pick up Sadauda's luggage. Sadauda had 2 briefcases that came in the day before from the airport. They were not even open, his belongings. I carried those 2 suitcases down to the vehicle. And I had to put those suitcases into Andrew Winter's vehicle. He's the one that rode with Sadauda in his car, leaving the State House.
So essentially, you do not know how the decision to evacuate State House and go to the ship, you don't know how that decision was taken?
No, I don't know how that decision was taken.
But you can recall you were asked to take that Sadauda's luggage into the vehicle?
Yes.
Do you recall what time this occurred? What time of the day?
I'll probably know this. I don't know the exact time, but my suggestion will be probably around 11, maybe 10:30 is 11 o'clock in the morning.
At this stage, what was the security situation at State House? Did you see the usual number of guards present there, or you did not?
There was guards at the gate. Now, I didn't walk around the State House, excuse me, because I know they have different sentry positions. But at the gate, there was gendarme officers at the gate. I mean, the presidential guards. They were at the gate when we were leaving.
From what you saw, was the size of security presence at the State House, was that normal, or did it appear abnormal to you?
You know, I couldn't tell. Like I said, the only time I don't mingle with the guys at the State House much. So they have their strategic locations. They have their sentry positions inside the State House. Basically, the only people that we have visibility of seeing are the people at the gate. When we come in, they open the gate, we go in. When we are leaving, they open the gate and we go back out. So those are the people I can attest to that I have seen people there. Now, within the State House itself, I'm not sure of how many personnel they have on the ground. There was people at the State House.
Fair enough. So you brought the luggage into Andrew Winter's vehicle. What happened thereafter?
Vehicle, yes. Then myself, Sabali and Dow, I believe the vehicle that took us to the port was a Nissan Pathfinder. We did not use Sehus official vehicle. Sehus official vehicle was a Mercedes Benz. We did not use that vehicle to go to the port. We used a different vehicle. So once we get to the port, we boarded the ship, and at that point, I was monitoring my radio communication, and at this point, I had somebody mention Lieutenant Yaya Jame on the radio, and I called on the radio to try to get to see if I can talk to Jame himself.
Why did you do
with
that?
The intention. Well, because I had his name on the radio. At this point, I don't know who was involved. I don't know who was doing what. But since I had his name and I knew Jame was the military police officer, if something happened, supposedly he's the one that's supposed to police both the army, I'm the armed forces, us and GNA, the military police will police us. So my intention was to talk to Jame and find out what was going on. Maybe I'll have him talk to one of the authorities, because at this point there was no communication. Not that I know of. I cannot see any visible people making phone calls or anything. So, but at this point, when I made that attempt several times, and AIG Ibrahim Chongan at that point came on air. He came on the radio and told me radio silence.
What does that mean?
He said at that point, radio silence means I need to get off the radio, not to call, because our signals were compromised already. They had already taken over Fajara Barracks, where our signals are. So at that point, whatever I communicated, they were hearing me. But whatever we say, on our network, whoever was on the other side was able to hear what we are saying. So we ceased radio communication. That was the end of it.
So can you tell us what was going on at the ship at this time?
At the ship, when we got in, I saw the Coast Guards get into a battle mode. They all went in, get into their gear, camouflage, just combat ready. And at this point, I guess many discussions going on, which I cannot elaborate on because I was not in the room. But I know there was a lot of talks going on between probably Sadauda, probably the international community. I'm not sure who he was talking to. But while all that was happening, my then commander came in, who was the Inspector General of Police.
What's his name? Go ahead.
Pastor And when Pastor Lajan came in, I believe he was the last person to arrive at the ship. When he attempted to get in, the Americans had to, get hold of him. They had to search him, make sure everything was okay before they let him in. I believe, if I remember right, Captain Kasama, the ADC, was the one that confirmed to them to let him on board, because he was the last person, and at that point they didn't know who he was, so they just wrestled him and had to search him. Captain Kasama gave him the go to let him go because he was part of us. So this happened. We were in the ship. All that day, negotiations, I guess, were going on. And
were you privy to these negotiations?
No. Like I said, I'm not where they're having negotiations. I know Sadauda was probably talking to other people. See who was there. I like to say who somebody was there. He was probably talking to other people too. But when they talk to whoever they were talking to, they were going to a special room. It's not like open in the cabin, talking like that. No, they had a room that they were going in. And I was not in that room. So what they talked about, I cannot tell.
Do you recall which other senior officials were present on board?
The senior officials, the Gambians were Sadauda, the Vice President, Sehu Sabali, the then Finance Minister, I believe he was Bakari Bunja Dabo. On the military side, I say Captain Kasama was there. I believe Kababajo was there. I can't remember his rank by then. And I know I was there myself. Kopunda was there, the police officer from Sales Oddly. And Sergeant Jame, he was the inspector, I believe, in the police force. He was also there. It was quite, I think it was like 47 people, if I remember right. I mean, I had Captain Kasama give you guys a list the other day that you guys, he had to read out, which was compiled while we were in the ship. So I cannot remember every single person that was in there, but these are people that I know that were.
Indeed, this is not a memo due to that. Yes, we have the document. All we wanted to confirm was the senior officials who were present on board. But thank you very much for that. We have the list. It's a list of 47, and your name is listed as number 39, and it is listed as Abduba, not Abdul Karimba.
Yes, sir.
And it's a list of 47 individuals. It's exhibit 0025. But thank you for that, Mr. Witness. Can you tell us for how long did the ship remain anchored at the Banjul port after your arrival there?
Again, I don't remember the exact timing, like to the dot to the hour, but I remember we've been there for a little bit, and then we had to move. They moved the ship down right across from the State House. And we are able at that point to even see movements inside the State House. The Americans, they had very good binoculars mounted on their ship. And we were able to, to see through those binoculars to the State House, like the movement that was going on around there. I mean,
At what stage?
Yeah, we had to move.
At what stage did you leave Gambian waters for your next destination?
I will say, I think it was on Saturday, sometime in the afternoon. We left Gambian waters, but we did not get to Senegal until that Sunday evening. Now, while we were in this ship, let me just mention this before we go to Senegal. Remember, Andrew Winter, the American ambassador, was on board with us. I believe it was on a Saturday morning, the next day, that the U.S. Coast Guard had to bring him back. They had smaller boats that they had to put him on and bring him back to Banjul. Then when they got back to the ship, that was when we left Gambian waters to Dakar.
When did you arrive in Dakar?
We arrived in Dakar in the evening on Sunday.
Can you tell us what transpired when you arrived in Dakar?
When we got into Dakar, the Senegalese officials picked us up from the port, and we were taken down to Residence Medina. Now, Residence Medina is where Sadauda and his aides were staying that had traveled with him. Myself, the Vice President Alhaji Sehu Sabali, Kopul Ndao, and Sumana Mane, excuse me, and other officers, we were taken down to Hotel Sofitel, also known as Hotel Teranga. That's where we were lodged. So we spent the night at Hotel Teranga.
Did you remain in Senegal thereafter?
No, actually I did return the next day.
Can you tell us how that happened?
The next day in the morning.
Can you tell us how that happened?
The next day in the morning. Yes, the next day in the morning, myself and Couple Ansumana Mane decided that we wanted to go back to the Gambia. And so we approached, Honorable Sehu Sabali to let him know that our intention is to go back. And he said that was okay. But then remember, we didn't have any money to buy a taxi or anything, taxi fare to Gambia. So me and Couple Ndao and other officials, I guess, that went back, we all had to go to the Gambian embassy in Dakar. I believe we were given 5,000 francs.
By that you mean 5,000 French francs?
Yes, 5,000 French francs. And that we used to buy us, a taxi fare to go back to the Gambia. Myself, I went to Farafenni. When I got to Farafenni, we had a gendarmerie station there. Well, now it's TSG because we were already amalgamated. And the officer in charge was Usman Sane from Kombo Birkarama. I guess I believe he was either ASP or lieutenant. Now it's all mixed up here. Now in the gendarmerie we have lieutenants, sergeants, and all that. In the police force you have ASP, superintendent. So it's all mixed up. So I might be off on my rank here, but regardless, I met with Sane, and he gave me a uniform to wear, because the uniform that I had when I was going to Senegal was a gendarmerie uniform. It was our short sleeve, ceremonial looking dress, with a holster for my pistol, which was a white one. So I had to ditch all that in Farafenni, get into a green uniform that he gave me. And then I proceeded down to Jara Soma, our station up in Jarasoma. That's where I spent the night. While I was at Jarasoma, I called the then ADC, I believe he was, to the ex ASPRC chairman, which is Yaya Jame. His name was Khalifa Bajinka. Bajinka was my batch mate. And when I called Bajinka to let him know what had happened, but now I'm back in the Gambia, and my location at that moment was I was at the station in Parapeni. I mean, not Parapeni, excuse me, Jarasoma. So Bajinka advised me to go back to my unit in Fajara Barracks, which I said, okay. So I went back to Fajara Barracks. When I got there, I went and talked to my sergeant, who was Abakoli. Remember, he was my sergeant when I was at Sehu Sabalis. It was me, Baji, me, Koli, and Mane. So I went back and reported to him. I told him, I'm back. So what's next? He told me, go spend the night. I believe this was on the 26th when I got to Fajara Barak in the evening. He told me to go spend the night and the next morning to report to headquarters. And when I do, I believe the then camp assistant commander was Lieutenant Pau. So I went back the next morning and I reported to Pau. Actually, he introduced me.
Do you know his real name, Pau?
I believe his name is Ablai Pau.
Proceed,
a lieutenant. So that morning, when I got to headquarters, obviously with Abakoli took me to him and told him that, this guy here is Abdul. He was working under me, the vice president. With the vice president, he left. Now he's back to join his unit. At that point, Dotfal commented by saying, "Why did I let Sehu escape?" So I said, well, first of all, I was doing my job. I was doing my duty. That was my responsibility. And second of all, nobody called me or informed me of anything that has been planned for me to be able to restrain Sehu. So that being the case, I was doing my job. That didn't go down well with Dotfal.
Did he say or do anything as a result of what you told him?
Yes. I was locked up in the guard room for a week.
Was that a punishment, wasn't it?
Yes, that was a punishment. I was locked up in the guard room for 1 week. Then after I got released from the guard room, they start sending me down to duties. Again, we'll go down to Radio Gambia, the Central Bank, and the NIA headquarters.
This was guard duties this time. This was guard duties this time.
Yes, it was guard duties.
Proceed, please.
And at these guard places, I was being deployed to go to guard, but I believe it was a week or so, or maybe more. I can't remember the exact time that it stopped. But they were giving me a rifle to go to duties, but I won't have any ammunition. So I'll have an empty rifle, and then they'll tell me you're going to Radio Gambia, or you're going to the Central Bank, or you're going to go down to the NIA headquarters. Because at that point, they had, some of these ministers at the NIA headquarters under detention. Sometimes they'll take them over to the NIA headquarters, and sometimes they'll just release them and they will be at their residences. But even at their residence, they were under guard. They were under house arrest.
Talking about arrested ministers, did you have the chance to see any of them at Fajara Barracks?
Yes, I did.
Tell us about
I
that.
saw, I think it happened in like 2 occasions. I can testify to 2. It might have been more also, but I know I saw two occasions that I've witnessed. So what happened is they will go collect them up, put them in a truck, and when they come in, they'll go take them down to the camp commander's office, which was at the headquarters. So when they're at the guard commander's office for a little bit, and then they'll come out. The first time I've seen them taking them out back again on the truck and leave it. Now, the second time, something weird happened, which I'll say that was probably one of the reasons why motivated me to get involved, to get in the trouble that I had to go through.
Could you tell us about
that
it?
was turning point. The turning point for me was them being tortured.
Who was being tortured?
The ex-ministers.
Can you tell us what
The ex-ministers. Okay, they'll bring them over. They'll have a meeting with them at the commander's office. This one second time, the last time I saw them, I saw it happen. After they had the meeting, they came out, and right there, at the headquarters, they start beating them. And when I said they, I mean the council members will be at the headquarters. Now, these council members that were at the headquarters are: 1, the then vice chairman, Sana Sabali; 2, Lieutenant Edward Singate; 3, Lieutenant Sadibu Haidara; 4, Lieutenant Yankuba Ture. Now, remember, all these officers had a group of soldiers attached to them as orderlies or guards. So they just released their boys on these people. They used, in Fajara Bara we have the neem tree. We had the neem trees in there. So they cut the branches of the neem trees and just go at these elderly statesmen. Just beat them to the point of, I couldn't watch it. So this one last time that it happened, while they were doing that, I witnessed something which I think I should bring up to the, to the TRRC. I believe that would have been the first journalist, if you may ask me, that is a victim of the AFPRC. And his name is Abdullah Savage. I believe he used to report for the Daily Observer. He came in, he saw what was going on, he took pictures with his camera. But he was spotted by the council members and their guards. They chased him down. I remember them catching him right in front of the guard room. Whatever they did to this guy, they should have just killed him. It would have been a lot better.
Can you tell us what they did to him?
Yes. They start gun butting him. They'll use their rifle and gun butt him, kicking him. He fell down right in front of the guard room and kicking him with their boots on. And he started throwing up. And he threw up blood. Then they confiscated his camera. And they just let him go after that. But they barely killed him.
On this particular occasion,
and later on,
yes. just allow me, Mr. Witness. On this particular occasion, were members of the council present?
Yes. They were present.
At this stage, when this was happening, where were the detainees?
The detainees were with the other people. They had too many people. It's not just few, Sana Sabali had his group, Edward had his group, and Yankuba Ture, and they all had their men. So these people, after they beat them back again, they put them back up in the truck, and they took them out of the camp again. The detainees.
On this particular occasion, did the detainees come into contact with members of the council?
Yes, they did.
And it is
Remember,
your testimony. It is your testimony that when they were being beaten, the council members were present.
Yes, they were all there.
And it is also your testimony that they were beaten by the orderlies of the members of the council.
Yes.
What would you say to the suggestion that it was just the orderlies of Sana Sabali and the orderlies of Edward Singate who participated in the beating, and not the orderlies of the other two members of the council you mentioned?
You know, I cannot separate it. They were all in it together. It's not like I saw Mr. X, Mr. Y, and Mr. Z do this, and Mr. Y and Z and that do the other. They were all together. They were all participating in the beating, and after they spotted the journalists, you know, another group went for the journalists.
Can you tell us when this event occurred? Can you tell us when this event occurred?
It was in 1994, right? I'll say after I went back, I'll say maybe a month or so, which is from the 27th of July. I went back to duties. I'll say a month from that.
August 1994, thereabout. Correct?
Around there, yes. Yes.
Do you know which ministers were beaten during this occasion?
For sure, I know Honorable O.J. Jallow was there. I know I can testify to O.J. was there. Bibi Dabo was there. Now, I don't remember the other ministers. I know at the headquarters of the NIA was a different thing. They were, you know, the people I remember over there was Lamin Kitty Jaba was there. MC Cham, I believe, was there. Matthew Yaya Balde, I believe, was there. Honorable Kamabaji.
Yes, Mr. Witness. Let's separate these two incidents. At the NIA or the NSS premises at the time, were the ministers who were present there ever beaten?
Not that I saw. Not at the NIA.
Good.
The beating happened only in Fajara Barracks that I witnessed.
For the Fajara Barracks, the incident that you described involving O.J. Jallow, didn't that happen in 1995?
No, it would not happen in 1995. It was in 1994, I believe.
I know that Mr. O.J. Jallow was arrested several times. In fact, 23 times to quote him. But the incident, he has testified before the commission, and the incident that he described, in which he said he was tortured at Fajara Barracks, occurred at a point when about 46 people were detained together with him. And this event occurred in 1995. What do you say to that?
Okay, that's possible. That's possible.
Is it
but
possible
remember,
that you may be mistaken as to dates?
No, I don't think I'm mistaken by dates, because I myself, I got involved in the November 11. November 11, 1994, that's when I got arrested. So in 1995, when the year turned to 1995, I was in detention. So I wouldn't know, the torture that happened in 1995.
That is fair enough, and I think you are right when you said that. So it therefore means this incident that you're referring to happened before November 11th, and Mr. O.J. Jallow was one of the victims of that torture, correct?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So you were telling us that you got involved in November 11 for a reason. Can you pick it up from there, please?
Okay. So I'm gonna pick it up from there. November 11 did happen, and
no,
like I said,
listen to the question, Mr. Witness. We want you to tell us what were the reasons why you eventually joined November 11. You said something motivated you. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. What motivated me to join November 11 is one, the torture that was going on from the council members to not only the ministers, but also I believe civil society, if I may say, because that journalist was also the minister that applied service. So the direction that I realized, the direction that the country was going to be heading to, is not a direction that I want to be behind on. I wanted to do something different. So when I heard about the November 11, I decided that I'm going to participate in it.
Can you tell us how you heard about November 11?
I used to live in the building block called Yamatoy. That's where my room was. Now, I used to live with a sergeant major called Almami Bojang. W2 Almami Bojang. Now, with Mr. Bojang, he is the one that informed me, spoke to me about the event of November 11.
What did he say to you? Could you recall exactly what he said to you, or something close to what he said to you?
Sergeant Major Bojan told me that they are in a process of trying to dislodge the AFPRC regime, because what they came up to and what they said they're going to be doing and what is happening is not in line of what the agreement was.
Can you be more specific? What was it that was going on that he did not like or that he complained about?
He complained about the promises that supposedly the council members did, which is they're going to be increasing salaries, they're going to be accommodating the military more, the soldiers more, and then they're going to be basically they take over. They're going to make so the military personnel are well taken care of. That was not happening. And then he mentioned about the tortures of these ex-ministers, because Sergeant Major Bolden himself was tasked. He was the one that was responsible for deploying men to the residences of these ex-ministers for guard. That was one of his roles. So after he spoke to me about it, I told him, well, I am willing to do whatever it takes on my end, on my power, to help assist what needed to be done.
Did he tell you? Did he tell you how November 11 was to be organized? Who were the leaders and what the plan was?
No, he did not explain to me who is going to be the leader, how the leadership was, put in place. One, he said to me that he's talking to the people responsible, but I did not get names from Almami Bojang as to who was the head and what the organization was all about. But
did he tell you a date when this event was to occur?
When we got closer to the date, that's when he talked to me about it. Because it took a couple of weeks, when I spoke to Almani Bojang about it. It took I'll say about 2-3 weeks before the actual date happened, which is November 11. So, but that particular day, yes, he did inform me that whatever we planned is going to be done at this particular day. Now,
Can you walk us through your day from the morning till the evening of November 11th?
Okay, it started the day before. On the 9th, I believe, was the day on the 9th, November 9th, was my last day on duties at Yaya Jame's residence. That's where his mom was. His mom was brought to his residence.
Where was that located?
It was there right at the officers' quarters next to the front gate, Fajara Barracks. They're just right there by the ocean.
You served there with who?
I don't remember the exact names of the guards right now, but it was 3 of us that was tasked to guard his residence, because his mom at that point was, residing there. That was his quarters before he became the chairman of the council. So after they did the 22nd July happen, he brought his mom to his residence, and that's where the old, the old lady was staying. So on the 9th, when I got off work, I was supposed to be taking my 2 days off. But then I went back to barracks and I talked to the clerk.
What is his name?
When I talked to
his name.
I don't remember the clerk's name now. I don't remember the clerk's name, sir.
The clerk for which section of the barracks?
Okay, the clerk is the whole barracks. It's not just a particular section at this point. It's the main clerk. The main clerk, this is the guy that will put you on duties. He'll the one that distribute people, send people to different locations. So every guard week, they will prepare a list of how many men are going to this particular residence to replace how many men are over there. So when I got back to barracks, I spoke to the clerk and I informed him to make sure he put me back on duties, because I did not want to take my day off.
And
so
what happened?
He put me back on the roster. Yes, he put me back on the roster. So if you have, if you are on the roster, you sign out a weapon. So
and
I signed out my weapon.
Why did you not want to be off duty during that period?
It was a backup plan.
The backup plan, tell us about it. Tell us about it.
Right. So what happened is, I knew November 11th is coming. It's going to happen, on the 11th. And that particular day, I would have been off duty. But remember, I already talked to Sergeant Major Bojang, and I was now part of the operation. So since I knew the date, and it was going to fall into a day that I'm supposed to be off, I asked the clerk to put me back on paper, on the list, meaning I'm still on duty.
So that would have given you legitimate cover to have a weapon and also be able to participate in the event, correct?
Yes, sir.
Is that what you wanted?
Yes.
Okay. Was your request granted?
Yes.
And tell us what happened after that.
So that evening, while we were at the headquarters, we were briefed. We were all called in to fall in, and we were briefed. The briefing was done by then Lieutenant Bine Minte.
What day are you referring to?
This was the November 10th, around 8 o'clock, 8:30 at night, on the 10th.
And
Now,
what were you told during that briefing?
we were told that the operation is about to happen that night. Operation that, the November 11 attack, the coup plot that we had in place was supposed to happen that night. So after the briefing, we had to, put logistics together. So
can you explain what that means or what it entails?
It entails by putting the necessary equipment together to help to start launching, the event at a given time.
Tell us about it.
Almami Boja, yes, my sergeant major Almami Boja at that point tasked me to help in the armory. In the armory, at this point, by putting weapons together. They had, I believe, it was 4 vehicles, 3 Land Rovers, and I believe it was either a Toyota or a Nissan pickup truck, a blue one, that Almami Boja was driving at that point. I went into the armory. The people I was assisting in the armory were Madike Fall and Mustafa Fall. So myself, Mustafa Fall, and Madike Fall were in the armory putting the weapons together with the ammunition to put them into the vehicles outside that was supposed to be deployed to various locations, which is to the council members. There was one that was supposed to go to Sana Sabali. There was one that was supposed to go to Edward Singati. There was one that was supposed to go to Sadibu Haidara. There was one that was supposed to go to Yankoba Ture.
What were they to go and do what were they going to do with Yankuba Ture or the council members you named?
They were supposed to go capture them when they get arrested. Then, we'll have our new leadership in.
Who was to go and arrest them?
They had different people assigned to different routes. Now with Yankuba, Edward, and Sadibu Haidara, I'm not sure who was tasked to do those 3, but I know Almami Boja was supposed to be the one that was supposed to go to Sana Sabali's residence.
You mentioned 2 individuals, Mustafa Fall. What was his rank at the time?
Yes. Class. I believe he was a corporal. Either a corporal? Yes, he must have been a corporal because he was one of the NCOs selected during from my badge to be sent to Turkey. It was him, I believe, Alhaji Jajanyas, and I think Kejao Ture. I can't remember them all, but there was about 8 people that I was in the same badge with that got selected to go to do a course in Turkey, like an NCO course. We had NCO course and we had officers course.
So you cannot recall his rank at the time, but you think he was a corporal?
No, I cannot remember Mustafa rank. Yeah.
You also mentioned a person called Madike Fall. What was his rank?
I'm not sure. Madike Fall was from the army.
What was he doing there at the time? What was he doing at Fajara Barracks, Amori, at this time?
It was me, him, and Fall setting up the operation, which is putting the weapons together and the ammunition to the vehicle that was supposed to go to various locations.
Did you have any other responsibility as far as you know at this time?
Well, at that time, my responsibility was to help with fixing up the vehicles with the weapons going to the different locations. But then what happened is, before I get to my next task, which I was supposed to probably be given after I'm done with the armory, we didn't get to that point. When I brought in the last weapon, loaded onto the Land Rover, I'll say probably around 12:30 or 1 o'clock, if I remember right. Then I had a gunshot, and the gunshot appeared to be it's been coming from the back gate. So when I had the gunshot, at that point, all the men that were standing at the over there at the headquarters, everybody scattered.
They all scampered.
And start running. Everybody scattered around. We all start running. Everybody ran. That was the last time I have seen.
Didn't you have any defensive positions in preparation for any potential attack?
I would think so. I would think so. I would think if like I said, I was in the armory. I would think there will be, since that was now our base, we've taken our Fajara barracks. I would think there will be a defensive position, with guards mounted at this point, ready to take any, incoming threat. But
what you saw was soldiers scampering, running away in different directions. That's what you saw, right?
Yes. Yes.
Can you tell us what happened afterwards? You saw people running away after you had the gunshot.
We all scattered. At this point, we all scattered. Okay. After we scattered, I ran towards the commander's office.
At this stage, were you armed?
Yes. Yes.
Did you choose to return fire, or you did not?
No, I didn't return fire at this point.
Tell us what happened. You ran towards the
commander's office. Because what happened is the gunshots were coming from the back gate. At this point, I wouldn't even be able. I don't know what I'm firing after, because we couldn't see the people. All we had was the gunshot. We didn't see any target or anybody advancing. Remember, it's kind of a little far between the back gate and main gate. We are at the main gate. The gunshots come from back gate. So when people scattered, I ran towards the officers' quarters, passing the commander's office, cut through that, go to the training school. And when I was by the training school, I can hear at this point Sana Sabali screaming, "Ceasefire, ceasefire, ceasefire." So it went quiet. All of a sudden you'll have like sporadic, gunshot, but it wasn't as heavy as when they first attacked.
Did you notice any return of fire from people within your group who were in Fajara barracks? Did you notice any one of them firing back?
No, I didn't.
So
I did not.
You crossed the sergeant's lines and you went to the training school. And what happened after that?
Mm-hmm. So at the training school, after I heard Sana Sabari's voice screaming, "Ceasefire, ceasefire." At this point, I can see people running, between the sergeant line, the residential area, coming towards the communication. Communication is just next to the training school, next to the pistol range. Between those buildings, people are running all over the place. So I met up with one Lance Corporal, I believe his rank was Lance Corporal, Landing Baji. He used to be the military police officer, driver for President, Lieutenant Yaya Jammeh when he was the officer in charge of the military police. That was his driver. And I also met up with...
Was this Landing Baji part of the friendly forces, or was he part of the attacking party?
He was part of the friendly forces. He was with us. He was with me.
So you mean Yaya Jammeh's former driver in the military police also participated in November 11 to overthrow Yaya Jammeh few months after he had taken over be chairman of the AFPRC? That's what you're telling us, right?
Yes, yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Witness. We have 5 minutes to the lunch break. Mr. Chairman, would the commissioners wish to ask any questions before we go into the lunch break? I'd be happy to leave it at this point and take it off from there after the lunch break. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I think you can use the 5 minutes. We'll hold questions until the end of the witnesses' testimony. So you can make use of the 5 minutes.
Much obliged, Mr. Chairman. I'll now proceed with the witness. Can you tell us what happened after you saw landing Baji? What happened after that?
I saw landing Baji. I saw Katim Toure. And I saw Sergeant Nyang Kabare.
Can you explain how you saw them?
We were all heading to the same exit. The exit, there's a road that goes from around the pistol range behind the that building. There's an exit from the camp going towards Bakau New Town.
So you were all running, heading towards the same exit?
Same exit.
Both so of you armed, correct?
Yes. Yes.
But how do you know, or how did you know at the time, that all three of you were friendly forces?
Because we are all going to the same direction. And Baji, Kabare, these are people that we were all at the headquarters together that evening.
So when you were asked to fall in at the early hours of the evening, at the time you received the briefing, did you see Sergeant Kabare, Katim Toure, and Landing Baji? Did you see them there?
I saw Landing Baji, but I did not see Kabare and Katim Toure at that point.
What made you believe at this stage that these two soldiers were also part of the friendly forces?
Well, like I said, we are all going to the same direction. And obviously, if there's anything, I think, since we are all heading the same direction and we didn't confront each other, then I'll assume that we are all within the same, area. Because they didn't say nothing to me, like they didn't halt me, I didn't halt them. Nobody halted,
all of you were escaping.
Exactly.
Towards the same direction.
Same direction, yes.
And
I'll tell you, there was pandemonium everywhere.
Could you say that again, sir?
I'm just saying there was pandemonium everywhere. It's like everybody just disappeared.
Did you have occasion to speak to any one of these three individuals?
Yes, we did. After we went out of the camp, right about when we go to the main road, there's this road that comes from, it's a straight road that goes towards the intersection, then you turn left, and you go towards the back gate of Fajara Barracks. What do you call that main road? It comes from like Combo Station, Kairaba Avenue, it branches up into Bakau New Town. But anyway, I think you know the road I'm talking about.
That's the Bakau end, right?
That's the road right.
Or the Fajara end?
That's the road.
The Bakau Road or the Fajara Road?
The Bakau Road.
New Town Road, correct?
Right, yes.
Okay. And what happened there?
That's the road you will cross to go to the Independence Stadium, right?
Yes, that's New Town Road.
Okay. So while we were approaching that, at this point, Baji, I knew him. We knew each other. Kabare and Katim, I did not know them. They were from the army. So at this point, we stopped. And Baji decided, he proposed to us that since, we are at this stage, we don't know what's going on, how about we just leave and go to his compound? Their residence is up in Manjai Kunda. So we said, okay, let's go to Manjai Kunda. But still, we didn't throw our weapons. We still had our weapons, our ammunition, and everything.
And how many
So
of you
we start
decided to go to Manjaikunda?
4 of us. It was myself, Landim Baji, Sajin Kabare, and Katim Ture.
At what time did you arrive at Manjaikunda?
I'll say about 7 in the morning.
Did you come across any soldiers on the way as you were going to Manjaikunda?
No, we didn't encounter any soldier on the way.
Mr. Chairman, it's 1 p.m. We leave it at that for the time being, and we resume at 2:15 or 2:30, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Council, and thank you, Mr. Abduba. We will take an hour and a half break and come back at 2:30.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Okay. Mr. Ba, see you at 2:30, Gambian time.
Gambian time. Okay, I'll be on.
Yes,
I'm looking at my phone.
Yes,
so
indeed.
I'll be on. I'll just leave it right there.
We should have time to from a breakfast. Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Oh.
He's finished. She was saying something.
Yeah. If there are no other questions, we would suspend the meeting and adjourn the meeting and resume at 2:30. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vehicles, you are giving it to parliamentarians. Where is the source? The parliamentarians themselves should challenge that.
Next, TRRC and GBC, no opposition. All other parties, that doesn't concern you people, either UDP or NRP or PPP, they are all good government. Man, dama against ID card mu nekk $450. Man musuma si ànd du musuma sa ànda.
yow xaalis boobu nu mu fa ñëwee loolu nga war a njëkk a laajte because social security institution doo xam ne social security warut a ñàkk a xaalis yëfi profit social security loolu waxtaani banda la loolu dafa war a automatique.
Baro lu ma ko ñaan mooy na wàcce 3 years am su demee 5 years dafa am problème legacy bu mu fi bàyyi dafa bon right now amul direction.
TRRC la korda bati Duns Hotel betembo men to bilungola tenengola karola momi yalonko ole nata puruka sedi ar kuma kangoldi asotota ning jaman laban chok nyolo bunda like afme ko Skype bilungola karola ke omi yalonko wole basiring Skype nyinna karola puruka la sedi ar koludi ko atet tomu Abdou Karim Baleti ya foko mum woltimi alonko a wuluta maji karo tilimu wanni lulu 1971 sango anon dinkrami alonko a wuluta wolto wole madina soto koyti kombo isla sefu banko nyinkan western division sai kafoje west coast region atendenda fanan kaitan droke kode a karanta dinkrado dami alonko karamundu malanko la karola memu nosiriti ayo ke dinkrado dami alonko wolen soto koyti anata tendem fanan kada faraba primary school nata karawoto kabo 84 kata 85 wato lem ay faraba karamo nyimbang memo faraba primary school je ako bira bota wota tentenda gunyur secondary technical school 1989 sangolem anate ibandi wodinkra nyinto je atendenda fanan kaytande ko de 1990 ay karango lafaro ke me alon ko abe Gambia la meche karam bundale ka me ko GTTI ako ay karango commencé woto 1991 ako bari amanna tente wo karango nyina GTTI anata kata dabula to saforo nin taroto me alon ko wolem Gambian gendarmerie 1991 sango ako anata karango soto talbe ala karola me alon ko wolem Gambia gendarmerie training school o nyinte 1991 kata 92 law mafonla ako ayo karango nyinta kake atendenda kaytande ko de kabirin tumala menna be wo training school o nyindo ako wato la itelbe nun nikindro ke kan memu parendro ti 1992 la independent la match kunyale nyin ako be nun parendro ke kan wollela anata itande ko de wolungo kabiribe o nikindro ke kan memu match kunyalti ako nada kama kan mo memu alamoti wo alamo nyin itolbe nata ta kakafu dinkrado dami yalon ko wole munun la jorangol be mabore non damen na memu amore nyin na dinkra nyindi Fajara Barracks ako kabrita raw dinkra nyinto nata itandro ke la ko de kuma kan soto ta kibaro la karola ko mamma lelbe caring sojaro la karola kabo yundum barracks sojaro la mamma nyindum wonata ke fendi me alon ko nate tol sasi ye jorangol dila memo AK47 ota anin kesolu pour eta dinkra do dame alon ko len dendim brite isita eta lanya dadaje pour tanko bundala karola atendenda kaytandi ko wato momi yalon ko wala mu itolla nyaton ko tenu wala captain Usenu Nyandi ako dum wo fananna normalan ko mi yalon ko wala ka amakoy wala ka lieutenant keba dibati jama ka faynu manpower ako nata e farafulati elo ka fonyin e modol tarta dentim bridge en ade tol samba dinkrado dam yalon ko ka folto en ko wadna beach hotel pour yeta lanya landije nyin kamala ko natara ko kachani nyomoy kool men yalon ko lebe sotola o sojarol ni ila moltema dentim bridge pour tol se fero keno nyamenna se koñin dubenno anata itandi fanan ko kachana ta soto o sojarol ni la moltema men yalon ko lebe dentim bridge wonata ke sababoti sojarol la silo pour kata banjul sata ko wonata bay wala nyama kool nyimbe nata ka tenkum tendenda kaytandi ko kabirin tumala menna etol bota o dinkra nyinto dami alon ko lem Fajara Barracks ya yamaro dilala ko si salo nyinta ya mumota ya kada nin karnato la nyin kamala ko mo kana tambi ka bonan fannala memo sera kunda ma fonte kadum banyul sata o kono membo ko sojarol atendenda fanan kaytandi ko kabirin ayalen karango ke bira pareta wala drong anata ta dinkrato dami alon ko wole keta mobile unity anu itella do ko mende wala dula ko malu banko kan meno boko abuko gamtel law dinkra bani membeje anim fanan dula mi yalon ko wala boko central bank kata NIL headquarters anin dinkra me yalon ko wala mu dulati dam yalon ko banko kan Gambia mansakunda la doku lalo ila dinkralo pour ka kantarol keje atendenda fanan kaytandi ko itolle o mol men yalon ko wollel benu woddo ko wala membe wo mobile unit o nyinto ako sajin mejo balde wato wala muy tolla nyaton kodi atendenda fanan kaytandi ko de sehna jay wato wala mu wala assistant oti nin kumu normalan ko anu woddo ko me baake kan wo mobile dinkra nyinto wato sojar makamo men bade bul wala private soldati ako dun ayo makamo nyim warale karsaba wucho nyin kono ako nada sawndi ka samba dinkra to dame alon ko wala amore nyin nakarola memo sojarol la jorangol la mabo dinkra nyinde ako woto abe do ko la momen koto wala keta sajin WO2 jammete ako anara ke mode me alon ko kabrabe do ko la o dinkra nyinto inata ka promote ka bondi private soldier yala ka samba lance corporal atendenda fanan kaytandi ko inata sawndi kada dinkrato dami alon ko wala mo nunto Gambia banko la vice president o ala dinkirato dami yalon ko wole munun Seku Sabalti ako Seku Sabale nata samba kata ke wala kantar lal dolti molmen yalon ko wolel be karla taala la korra kono ka samba doku dlaro na bota doku dla fana ya murunda la suwonyin kono ako nata saswo doku wala memu escorti atendenda fanan kaytandi ko de ako ay do ko ke wolto Seku Sabal law dinkra nyin fo July karo tilmo nin fula 1994 nata tara o do ko nyinela atendenda ka sain kandro ke ko de July karotil morning killing ako wolungola atekeda molti me yalon ko amanta nun do ko wala baring balama ko ya soto men keta sasa la karole de bara hakulo bora fo malaria lombang fo mun sasa sifalon ako bare wolunga sasa tele July karotil mon anin killing atendenda fanan kaytandi ko July karotil muannim fula somanda juno anata wuli kata ala doku dulato dami yalon ko vice president memu Seku Sabalti tata wala korda kono pour ka taje ka samba dinkrato dami yalon ko wala mala office oti banjulu sata kono memu state house ako kabire Seku Sabale bondi wo dinkra nyinto ako tala woro wala ma fonlemu inata ta dulato dami mu state house ti ako wado be talaje waro talan say kata talan say tambira minute muangol ma fongola tendenda fanan kaytandi ko de wato kabirin afutata o state house kono ako rajinnu babulu mi alon ko wolen chokinyola radioti memo sojarol nin tanko bundala nyomo rawde ako anata moy wo kono ko de sojarolu ye mamoke pour kabo dinkrato dami alon ko wolebe fajar bakaw bara ila dinkra dami alon ko wala mo yundum baraksti ko sojarol bota jelde akayo kuma kam moy ala bulto radio no nyinna anun anara ke fendi me alon ko atata moya memo vice president memo atela bosti o watola Seku Sabali pour ka ay wakibaro itandala ko e ko sojarol ye mamanta de bota yundum baraksti be ko lo nankan kana banjul ma fonla woddin krato ako kabrayo kuma kan sain kan ako Seku Sabali ya fa ko de bota kalmale ako bari atata fonola Seku Sabali o kalamuta nyaadile bari o watola telefomola telephone bang fondu munemu ako ato fonola ba Seku Sabali ya tandalal ko mbe boren ko be kalamale atendenda fanan kaytandi ko kabire futata office oto de ako atata kla ko ya me alon ko wole be maraling kol men ya alon ko wole nyanda kela lungo kono nyoje ya me alon ko wole appointment olti vice president wala karola pour asewo kayto tano asa long wo lungo kono vice president nin jumalel nyanda ka nyoja ani wati jumalle kereker tawro ako kabire kla ki o diala anata ta wo kayto nyine jube kayto la kundonga folo dami alon ko wolemu ala nyoje foloti wonyanda kala nun ngal America banko ila bakono sojarol men yalon ko be banko kanjang wollelu ning vice president nyanda ka nyoje an wato a telephone mo mini fono ko ay woleje ka sute no o mol kono mem wo American sojarol la karolati ako wolemu nunto ambassadoti Andrew Winters bari wo molti me yalon ko ate anene o jele anu amanke sinya kilinde ako ay wole sute no wakafo kono je atendenda fanan kaytande ko de momi yalon ko Gambian kolu kono ay men sute anen fana ay o marije ako wole keta nun captain kasamati anu molti mi alon ko natal nun pour kata moya memo vice president Seku Sabalti kata la office o nyin kono ako ay captain kasama sutel nun tendenda fana kaytande ko de wato la momi yalon ko safo ko Gambia dingolom abe mabere nu wodin krato wole keta corporal Ansmanan Dawti anu kopul Ansmanan Daw aytande ko de wo moti mi alon ko ate fana benu sojarol kono menu be Seku Sabal law office oto do ko nyinna atendenda kaytande ko de wodin krato dam yalon ko wole mu Seku Sabal law office o nyinde silo me yalon ko kataning dinkrato dam yalon ko wolen sa dawda kerawa jawra nundo president la office oti ako ay moje je me yalon ko wole mu nunto kullola bunda tankola karola memu national security service ti NSS ela director memo keba sisete talani ako ayoje nun jele atendenda fanan kaytandi ko de nata bula do ko wala mi yalon ko wala mo pour kata ka cartable fula bulu kono cartable nyin ko sadada karaba jawara la cartable ko samba ke bula ni moto kono mi yalon ko wala ambassador wintas la moto nyindi atendenda kaytandi ko de kabo talantanin tala kada talantanin killing so mandala o wato lem sa dawda karaba jawara anim fanan ala ADC mi alon ko wolem bajin kati wolu bulata andru min tasla motola ako telni seku sabali tolu bulata moto dolla Nissan patrol long beren seku sabali fon la moto e mawo use wato Mercedes Benz le ben wo bul ako bare mantani wola e bulata moto kono wala nyama e tata dingrado dame an ko wolem marine unity ba kon sojaro la kunda ba membo banjul sato kono kata bula kulumbala mi alon ko wolen American ba kon sojaro la kulunde membe sembere nu o bada nyina tendenda fanan kaytandi ko Ibrahima Chongan ala radio mi alon ko babulo bulu kono radio nyin anata kuma kan moje ko Ibrahima Chongan yeytandiro ke ko sifero beke pour akana diamo ke radio to asi radio nyin sorong ako be soto da kabiren to mala menna ate radio nyin kono bulu kono radio nyin amoy ko mamma mi alon ko wole be ke kan sojaro la karola ay ya jamme to moje ako ate na ya jamme kol wol nyama pour ka kolta ke kisi ka lonno muna be kering anim fana mun al hala nyaadilom ako bari wona da ke fendi mi alon ko ayo kol kata nyawnya o man na benno ako kabiren Chongan la kuma kan nyin nata drong ko radio nyin dembe tembo mendo mollel soto da menu bulo lata kan wot kamala wot kataade kenole da maltema bari ni lafta fe ferendin kullo la drong o be laring kenoldo o dalilo kamala se radio nyin ta ka soro memula bulkon radio di jama ka fa hoki toki atendenda fanan kaytandro ke ko de dinkrar dami alon ko wala mu wo sojaro law kulunti memu American ba kono sojarol ti ako monata na mi alon ko wala munun Inspector General of Police ti Pasala Jagn ako kabira futata nan wo ba kono sojarol nata ya wiste bare mole mi alon ko mal al halo sute ani tel malon ako fan nata manyina captain Kasama wala nata ala al halo sen kan America sojarol inada bula anada kulunyin kono atendenda kaytande ko de wo kulunyin kono ako nun to president Sadara Karaba Jawara ani vice president Seku Sabale ani minister mi alon ko wato atele marta na flon fanko bundala memu Bakare Bunja Daboti ani fanan captain Kasama kata ke baba ani inspector Sadio Jamme ako kababajo fanam benu wo kulonyin kono ako nyunu be mollete ako mo siata ako bara hakilote mo be manola kulonyin kono atendenda fanan kaytande ko de kulunyin tarta wucho menna ba kono je ako ata fonola jannibe wutula ako bare nara kulunyin bondi wo dinkrato dame mu ba kono sojaro lo dulanyinte memu marine unity ya kulun samba state house la nyatili nyala wonata ke siloti dami alon ko tolka jero keno fengo ferende nata ko al halolo membe ke kan state house kono bare o American sojaro lo law ba kono kulunyin ye joran le soto mi alon ko wolumu joran sembe ma balleti ka sone andro keno fengolla mi alon ko mol kala fe ka wollel jeno al halo la karola state house la koldo tendenda fanan kaytande ko de be wole al halo nyama fo kabira meta ambassador Winters anata ke modi me alon ko ya bulandinin ila kulundi ngola ya samba kata dandang wo keta America sojaro le o dandan ro nyin kala ako kabiring wo keta itol nata ta dinkrado dame an ko wolen Senegal banko kandi ako kabire futata Senegal la badala nyin la poro nyin to ako Senegal man sakunda e bulandin moto la wole nyama ye samba dinkrado dame alon ko Sadara Karaba Jawara ate tarra sabatrin dama nala doñolu men yalon ko wala mala balama molti anala dimbalu wala keta medinti resident medin aytande ko Sadara Karaba Jawara nala balama mol tarrawoldo akoy tol ning la keba mi alon ko wala mu nunto vice president nyinte Sheikh Sabale e tol tata dinkrado dama ko wala hotel Terangati tendenda fanan kaytandi ko de kabiri beje itol nata ka sarodi kaytandi ko de ibella filanyinna pour ka murnan Gambia banko kanjang ako ate kada ansumana mane etol tata sara seku saballa kaytan dala ko etel bela fla pour ka saynan Gambia banko kanjang ako kabri waketa enata Gambia la ambassador bun korda ba nyinto jeto ambassador nyin nata kodo bondi mi alon ko sefa la karola e ka me ko semmilo anata wolta ko dila enata wolke pasodi ako kabri tata futata farafenye atenata ta ay motraje mi alon ko wato ka fa ko sane wala be marale nuwo kamponyina ako nata ka military uniform wolta ka diala bari wato kabrada bita kan Senegal uniform men bala wala la ceremonial uniform ti an wodu mu gendarme parera woldi ako wonara uniform wota ka diala o tamo wato len anata tenden kada dinkrado dame an ko wolem jara somati ako kabrabe jara soma anata mokman mi alan ko wala ya jamela ADC wo watola memu bajinkati ako anara ka itandro kala ko de atam moldi mi alon ko amurtana ne kabo Senegal kabra fo bajingaye wonata mem fay wala nyinti ko ase fero beke ase muru fajara barracks asamo nyina pour ayta report de ako kabra ta fajara barracks bira futa roto anata ta ka kulta ke senkanje ako anata ta dinkrado dami alon ko ya fay ko anin abakoli sita headquarters kabri futata je motara je mealon ko wolen ablay dot falti ako ya nyinin ka munantin na sonda ka Sheikh Sabal bulay kana ako ata aytande ko de ala do ko da woleke bari ala lon kan mu mendi wolen kaje ko Sheikh Sabali katara bala ka kaje ko ala kanto nin tanko nyin wo bunda mu fende mealon ko asito poto comme luwal ni sartol ya landi nyamen ako ate o kuma kan nyinta ka ayitandi ako nata soronje atarata sorondro nyin kono elaw guard post o nyindo ya soronje fo lokon kilin kondo kono o ko lale nata bula ka samba do ko la dinkral to dami alon ko wolen kantar dulalde membo ko Radio Gambia Central Bank waranto NIA la headquarters ako bari men keda ka ko nin kawandori wolen e ka kidi koloma kensen wala diala kesete men kono alaw watol bela wucho mi alon ko e kabulo kantaro nyina atendenda fanan kaitande ko ay fengolje me yalon ko wolo asafo fang o ko dolo wolle nata ke sababoti atenata nambaro soto nyamen ako sinya fula aka minister je me yalon ko wolmunun jawra man sakunda minister lelti eke bulandi nyimmoto bal kono memu turo kolti eke samba anu nie samba fanan kana na meta ye murundi ako bari sinya do kabiri wo minister nyin ye samba wodinkra nyinto me damento yalon ko wala mu fajara baraksti ako sana sabali Edward Singate yankuba Toure anin Sadib Haidra anila balama kantar lalu wolle kedam mo me alon ko ye bala crash bam ba ke nyim minister la bari yirinde kunal men be fajara baraks e ka wala ya warwari ye muta ye balo kandindala ako keda fendi me alon ko wo bala crash bam en tilimbalia on fendi me alon ko sana sabali Edward Singate Sadib Haidra ani yankuba Toure anila balama sojarolu yenyin wokole asifalta ka law minister kan ako fan kawandina ra sotoje me yalon ko journalist dolon e ka fay Ablaye Savage ako molti me yalon ko ate kabriwo bala cresbanglo be kering ate nada camera nyinta abe natalol kulloto takan me yalon ko wole o butero nyinde minister nyinna karola ako kabring tumala menna nyin junta sojarol tata boakalama ya bay wala nyama ina borta pirtititi et ada muda dinkrado da me alon ko wala mu ila amure mafon la ako tuma enata ka dam fun ka busa kidi kungolla ako fola bon la na abe tupiro kela e kaje ko yelole katara ala tupi feon nyin kono tendenda fanan ka 50 ke ako de August karo 1994 ako honorable Oje Jallo ane amonyolo ako de ay sedaro ke ko de o molo ay wollelje nyindin krado da malan ko wolem fajara baraksti wo watola ano atantenda fanan kaitande ko wo kolmen yalan ko be kekan wala manna nyafa ka tela karola wala fonara ke sababo de fata dabulata November 11 1994 wo kudeta kurukuro me yalan ko asotota non Gambia banko kan akode ni ajube balakilin tilimbali anin kersban kolo me yalan ko ka wala ke nyim molla menu me yalan ko a nyaton kaya kabona nyin council member lel bulu ako fana ni ajube o wato nyinna ako telbe sabatin dinkramento wala mu yama togn bulokti dinkram yalon ko itelen togne ya tola wala suru account yama togn ako ate anin alake ba benunje memu 002 warrant officer class 2 almame bojang sajin mejo ako de wokeda mori malon ko way kibaro diala ko nyin sojarolu me alon ko ya jamena la moñolu e mantra taku kam bare la hidol me alon ko e wolle di ko e bola kala sojar kunda nin tanko bundala e manna tama fennaje anu keda molti me alon ko e be tenden kam fanan ka cresbon balatil mbali ake molla surtout men yalon ko wolle mun nyin nun to ministalti ate denna fanan kaytandi ko wonara ka kuolu faye même boko e la fero nyinna karola ko e be la filale pour man wo sojar kudeta man sakunda ka boy ni nyamen ako e tarta wala nyama bari a nenema faye ko ako almame bojang 002 anenema faye ko munemu jumalel mu nyaton kolti men yalon ko wollelu be maralin nyin kudeta nyin nakola ako bari lungume yalon ko kudeta imbe kala kabre lokum fla sabanyol tambida kacal kasoto anin kalam tandro kol me yalon ko wollem ferolti ako wato lem ay nada fa ko e be la fla nyin lungo november karotil tanin kilingo wolungo ese nyin kudeta nyinta isake ako bari beje november karotil konondo ako wolunga asoro a jitanu ala juti la kabo ya jamela residanoto mi alon ko abenu fajaral ako dinkrado ya jamme abama na fenu wolto wobenu sabatri wodinkra nyinoto etelel mu sojarol de me yanko e ka nyo falen kanto bundala ako anada da kla ko ya pour kaytan dala ko de be tembo men da amallafi pour ase ofo soto abe lafla katenten ako ayo ke dalila fulala kama dalila killing wala momoro ni mantara of nibe juti e ka sembo dilale pour mari maralo keno kidola nin kesolu membe tarle mari bulu fulanjang fanan pour asa dabula no nyin kudeda me alon ko ba kuru kan november karo tiltanin killing atendenda fanan kaytande ko de ba november karo tiltango ako kabo talansa kada talansa nin tala sutola ako etele inata bembasoro mi yalon ko wole kada ferolti fero mi yalon ko e wole landi pour ebe kuolu tobendi la nyaadile kaje ko ise nyin kudeta nyin isa tamandino nyamenna ako Mr. Almayo Bojang o mi yalon ko wole munu atela bosti o sajim mejo alman bojan nata pour ka faye ko ates kafu mofulama mi alon ko wolem madike fal ani Mustafa Fall sida do ko wala dinkra dame mu amore nyinde ka kidol nin kesol nin joral da kebe kafu nyoma ako wado moto sabale be lori num banda o motol kono pour ka kidol keje nyin kamala ko bitawol talanna dinkra do dame alon ko wolen sana sabali Edward Singate Yankuba Touré anin Sadib Haidra e la kordal min alon ko wollelu benun dinkralto kombolo ma fonla kaje ko de sitano je nyamen bari modo lel sasi menu nyanda ka nyimmolu kilin na muta ke be ares ke site kuden ke samba akole keda no fero de malon ko wole landitanu akoy teltartanu amorito ani Mustafa Fall ning Madike Fall atendenda fanan kaytandi ko de kabritel bo do ko wala ako moto laban wala karola brebe bandi la auto drong ako talankile ma fan sutola nada kidi kuma kan moy mem be kuma kan fajara baraks la koma bunda nyim ma fan wala ako onada ke fendi me alon ko wo kidi kuma kan nyin wo ciocio se nyola ba sabu ako borol keta molni wurolu molwe kunke dulal nyine akada fanan cross ta sajin line law ma fan wala kada dinkrado dame an ko len train school law ma fondi ako barka brawe train school law ma fonla anada san sabal wuro kan moy aba fala ko six fire wala nyinde ko fayro be tenkum fayro be lo aka san sabal moy abo fo kan angale kanro ako tumala mate ay moje me alon ko kabren abita kan pour ka bore nin silo me alon ko wala be findila nin koma silo nyina memo bundati fajara baraks la essentiel ma fon nyina bunda membeje ako anim boro bita kan ako ay landim bajije me alon ko mu molti ata nene mu drive volti nu ya jamme wada military police ako landim bajile ka aborindi nu ako wona rake modi me alon ko afanam be bore kan anin kadim touré ako ay nyim molje men yalon ko Katem Toure anin Saji Nyankabare ako woni landimbaji ay wol beje beba bori kan wo bunda ba nyi bo walen kan koma da fanan bita ka won nyamen ako dum wo dalilo to a je ko de nyunu be mum molen me alon ko tol beba fule kilinne barin abe tembo men do drong tubabu angale tubabol ka fu nyamen birds of the same feather flocks together wolon kunol men yalon ko to lel denta dampan sifa kilimola wolel katinyola ako aje ko baring etella sojar kundato ni e kungolo dula moya kungolo je imam amari sapin kan imam fentilingala mi yalon ko abe coco sile na tema esalon ko to en wodenta fule kilin ako ana tolbe na rabor wol nyama biri findira campagne na bundala drong wo essentiellement fon la wo newtown silo nyinto ako jel to drong landimbaji na da fo ko e sitano atela kordato dami alon ko wala mu manjaite ako puru e sitawo dinkra nyinto atendenda fanan kaitande ko de etol be fanan nata taw dinkra nyeneto même mu manjay kundati landimbaji nyolla kordato ako dum talang woro wula wato lemo e futata wo korda nyinto kabo baka wo wato la ako bari hanbi la kesol be ne e bulle ani la kidolu anu wolmu fende me anko melandi ako bari hani sojar killing enene namam ben silo nyinkan kabire kata wo dinkra nyinto badingolu wole nata ke sababoti fonyondingo wato nyin nata si wo kamala late council me alon ko wole esam bay falti anata kuma kan nyini sirantie bulu memo Mr Lamin Jesi seti pour ka fonyondingo sotono talam fulani tala drong commission be ngurla koteke ka CDR kuma kan la moy kabo mobulu me alon ko wole mo Abdou Karim Bati anu aya foko ate abe tembo mento abe parerinde nin commission nyin parera wato wati drong isa teki abe tentenda ka CDR kool di membe laring la kalam tandirola kool men yanko wolle sota Gambia banko kanjang membe dending nyin November 11 kudeta nyinna badingolo mbal tendula mbal jayla kaytan dalla ron sita fonyondo hanbi fonin murtale nan drong na siola wuche fulanjang nyin kono dami yalon ko CDR kool meno be bota mobulu me yalon ko bilungala jaman labon chok nyolo bunda memo Skype ti nabe kachaka woldo nyin karon jabirobe tambikan ka fay ko Abdou Karim Ba ala baraka bake alla lamoy ko nyimala Lamin AFFS dabo fo tilbula wurarandi mafola wassalam.
Fear over electoral rigging rocks Zimbabwe as the country.
Yesterday, after listening to Prime Minister May's assessment of the state of the negotiations,